Today, we're taking a look at torque wrenches. Now, the first thing you might ask is why torque something and why not just go in ugga-duggas or until it's tight? Well, one reason is that if you're torquing something like a wheel or a shrink disc, especially a shrink disc with very tight tolerances, you need to make sure that you're tightening two bolts at the same time to the exact same torque, or else that shrink disc may get stuck and you will have an extremely difficult time getting that off. The next thing to look at when using a torque wrench is what measurement it's in. The most common one around here is inch pounds, foot pounds, or Newton meters. And I actually just learned not too long ago that foot pounds is actually pronounced pound feet. And where you're going to find these? Well, you'll find them in service manuals or instructions. It's an engineered number, so it will be on an engineered drawing as well. Now, how to set the torque wrench. Well, if you have a torque wrench like this, you have a little locking screw at the bottom, and then you have your scale right here. Make sure that that scale is in the measurement that you need. And along the handle that you're rotating to tighten it is your numbers for in between. So let's say we need to be in between here and here. We set it right there, then you lock it and you're good to go. And this type right here, you lift up, twist, and then lock it into position. Now another torque wrench to look at is this stall willy. And this one you can tighten up like this, you lock it, and good to go. Now, once you've torqued something, make sure that you set it back to 0. I like to go all the way to the bottom and then back up to 0. Make sure that there's a little bit of pressure on it, but not a lot, because these types of torque wrenches actually use a spring. And if you leave it tightened, then it'll throw your calibration off. If you have something like this stall willy, then it uses a torsion bar and you don't have to worry about setting it back to 0. It's an incredible torque wrench, but it is extremely expensive. Now, one tip when you are torquing something is to make sure that it's moving, whether it be a bolt or a nut or whatever. Make sure that it is moving while you hear that click, because it clicks right away. That's not going to give you a very accurate reading. Instead, you want it to be moving, and that's your best chance of having the most accurate torque. Now, if you're wondering when to calibrate it, they say about every 5,000 clicks. Now, personally, I don't use it that often, so I take it in once a year or after a good drop. Now, if you're using an extension, it's not going to throw it off enough to make a big impact, as the extension is just like holding the torque wrench farther away. But if you're using something like a crow's foot, that can throw it off. And there is a calculation to figure out what to set your torque to if you are using a crow's foot. But one thing to note is that if you put that crow's foot 90 to the torque wrench, then you actually don't need to change the torque at all. I hope this video helped you out and possibly learned something new. If you have any tips or tricks about torque wrenches, please leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.